Hello again, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in this afternoon so that we can become more knowledgeable about UPMA, United Precious Metals Association. Tonight we are privileged to have with us the president of UPMA, Mr. Mark Hilton. So without any further ado, we're going to let Mark get started and we're going to be on time. Mark, you may take it over. Can you unmute?
There we go. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Thank you again.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to your group. As was stated, I'm the president of Alpine Gold Exchange, and I'll talk a little bit how we relate to the UPMA and goldbacks and some of the other things that we're involved with, and then we'll make sure we leave a little time at the end for some Q&A. Okay.
Great.
So I thought I'd kind of walk through a presentation that I gave at a recent conference. This was at the Money Show, and I'll just talk to it because I don't have it up on the screen, but you'll get a sense. So we're talking about a gold-based economy, and what does that mean, and what sort of characteristics would such an economy have? So an economy, as we know, is a set of interrelated production and consumption activities that aid in determining how scarce resources are allocated. So a gold-based economy would essentially be just that, except with gold as the primary medium of exchange. I have an interesting quote here from Thomas Jefferson I'd like to read. He said once, "If the American people ever allow private banks to control the issue of their currency, the institutions that will grow up around them will deprive the people of all property until their children wake up homeless on the continent their fathers conquered." Fairly strong statement.
You've muted yourself, sir.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I don't know why it muted up again. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Have you heard anything I said, or should I start over again?
No, we did hear you.
Okay, it seems like it just muted on its own. My apologies. So talking about an economy, a gold-based economy, and what that might mean. So let me describe the kind of what we call a gold economy legal structure, one that we have in place here in our organization. What would be required is, at least in the United States, is a nonprofit sponsor and a trust and escrow process. So all funds would come in through trust or through escrow and be held in trust, and a closed loop membership. These are all necessary structures to allow such an economy in today's legal structure to operate. And we have such a structure with the UPMA, is the United Precious Metals Association, is a nonprofit association focused on the furthering of the use of precious metals as currency and money. We have a trust escrow law firm, which is Legal Tender Services, that is contracted by the UPMA. And then we have an operations contractor, which is Alpine Gold. That's the company that I run. And we're contracted by Legal Tender Services to run these operations. We have a various value chain partners, such as Goldback, and we have a crypto relationship. So we have this structure in a way that essentially we can operate kind of like a gold bank, but we do not require a charter, and we do not have the heavy regulatory overhead that you would see with a traditional bank. Now let's talk about money. We know, what is money? Well, it's a medium of exchange. It's portable. It has to be durable, can't wear out. It's got to be divisible into various different levels of values. and has to be interchangeable. What makes it legal tender is that it's just currency that is accepted for the payment of debts by law. So a legal tender instrument or something that is legal tender is something the government says this is can or must be accepted. So money is the same thing as currency. What I described before, that's currency, medium of exchange. The main difference between currency and money is that it has to be a store of value. And so it cannot lose its value over time. The term specie legal tender then is, it's sound money. It's legal tender that's in the form of money, and the form being gold and silver as defined by the Constitution. There's been many innovations with money through time, from barter to precious metals, and gold and silver has been around a long time. It was identified as sort of the optimal form of money about 2,500 years ago, but immediately it started to get abused. It came from precious metals to coinage. I think the Greeks were the first to do this, and then they started to clip the coins. They started to shave off little pieces of that, and so they had to enforce some weighing of the metals, and then impurities came into the metals. Then they created IOU notes saying, you know what, I'm going to hold on to this heavy pile of metal. I'm just going to give you a piece of paper that represents that. Then came along this wonderful idea of fractional reserve, because now they're holding all this metal and they're realizing, you know what, people don't actually need this. I can just write these IOUs. They can circulate the IOUs, and I can take that pile of gold and I can loan it out to other people, and I can sort of multiply its effect through fractional reserve, meaning I'm only holding a portion of what I've given out as IOU notes. This led to the idea of central banking, which became the primary vehicle for creation of money in various economies. And then we saw checking, demand deposits, electronic banking, cryptocurrencies. So all these various things have sort of been innovated over time. What we find, though, is there's this cycle that occurs. Is you start with precious metal coins, which have real value, and they're money in the true sense that they're a store of value. And you quickly get to a paper IOU version of that, such as the silver certificate or gold certificate saying you have a right to a certain amount of redeemable gold from the vault. Then you have partially backed notes, meaning we don't actually have all the gold and silver for the notes that we have, but for the most part, you should be okay. This turns into fiat currency, which means there's no backing at all. It's just fiat, meaning it's dictated by the government saying you should accept this paper as money. And then you end up with a money supply expansion, because always what happens is the government wants to print more money. When they get into trouble, they want to print money, and it's happened hundreds of times in various economies throughout the history. And this essentially always leads to an economic collapse because it's never kept in check. And then usually that leads back again to precious metal coinage becoming the basis that grows out of a ruined economy. And so we've seen this history repeat itself over and over again. The current situation that we have in the United States is our money supply is totally dependent on debt. If there were no debt, government or otherwise, there would be no money. It's just the way that it's manufactured is through a debt instrument. We have 8% money supply growth. About 60% of the US federal notes are held overseas. We had last year somewhere between 8 and 10% inflation. And depending on how you measure it, it could have been much higher. Foreign transactions are starting to move away from the dollar. They're starting to look at other vehicles, other methods of using for transactions between their various countries. And our national debt is now 130% of our gross domestic product, which is 15th highest out of 200 nations. So we're not in a great situation. So some rules around this gold economy is that really the way it needs to work is you have to have 100% reserves. That means no fractional reserve. This is the way it was originally intended when the government was founded. In the Constitution, it's very clear as you read the early documents, the Constitution as well as associated documents of the time, letters between some of the legislatures. There's no buy-sell spread. There should be no buy-sell spread against the US dollar because we do live in a hybrid economy where we do need dollars and we need gold. So you can't be charging a fee every time you change from one type of money to another. You have to be able to spend it and you have to be able to make a return on that. So we've come up with a solution where we have we meet all those needs through the structure that we have with UPMA and Alpine Gold. We offer 100% reserves. So all the accounts that are held with us are, as soon as someone purchases, we buy the metals, we put it in our vault. We have third-party auditing that occurs to count what we have there. We have no buy-sell spread against the dollar, so you can come in and out up to approximately $10,000 per account per month. So we don't have unlimited liquidity there. That would not be economically feasible for anybody to do, but we've allowed a certain portion of liquidity for our members to move in and out of what they need, but not intended to be constantly, withdrawing everything. Flexible spending options. We have innovated with the gold back, which is a very unique spendable form of gold that's being accepted by a growing number of merchants throughout the nation. We allow the ability for individuals to transfer between accounts. So if multiple people, say your group here, I believe most of you have UPMA accounts, you can actually spend money with one another for goods and services through the transfer function that's built into the platform. And then we also have a lease program to gain some return off the monies that are in your account. These are used for various purposes, but allows you to actually grow the amount of gold, silver, gold backs that you have in your account. Let's see what else. We do have some loans, some collateralized loans. So one issue that we have currently is that if individuals are receiving, say they're purchasing gold or they receive it from someone and the value of that gold goes up and they convert it back to paper dollars, by the IRS's rule, that is a capital gain and needs to be paid tax on that portion. Now, in reality, it's, you're converting from one form of legal tender to another. You could make the argument that you shouldn't have a tax on there, but the IRS has defined it that way. We call it an inflation tax because what really is happening is that the value of the gold is not changing, but the value of the paper dollar is reducing. And so when you convert from one to another, there's a difference. And you end up having to pay a tax on that, even though it's not an increase in purchasing power. We do have a crypto solution. I won't go into that a lot today, but we do have the ability for folks to move in and out of the crypto space using a gold back or a silver backed cryptocurrency. And so that just simplifies transactions. And so that gives us flexible spending options. We mentioned gold backs. These are actual, they're real money, non-fiat. They're stand as a Federal Reserve note. You can carry them. You don't need any backing because they're essentially carrying their own backing in the form of the gold that they contain. and it solves that 2,600-year-old small coin problem. I've talked about in-network transfers. Okay. We're also developing a lot of storefronts, where you can go in and actually purchase things with gold or gold backs electronically. These are in development. Not a lot of them are out there yet, but this is something that we're spending a lot of time on, sort of an Amazon for gold, if you will. And this collateralized loan, as I mentioned, to help avoid the capital gains that I talked about, you can actually borrow against the gold that you hold in your account. So for you folks, I understand you're transferring and whatnot, receiving commissions or payments through the transfer function. It would be possible for you to turn. Sorry, back. I got muted again. Through a collateralized loan somehow, because you're not actually selling your gold, you're just borrowing against it. And so in that case, there would be no capital gains requirements. So we can go into the details if anybody's interested in understanding how that works. But it's a nice solution for sort of ongoing expenses up to a certain amount that can be done without actually selling. So you keep your position in the gold. And let's see, we mentioned that. So we really see this gold economy as kind of a complement to our current economic system, and allows groups within that system to have sound money and to protect their hard-earned assets that they've spent their lives putting together. It's based on proven specie legal tender laws that we have helped actually put into place in a number of states. It's also based off the federal laws. It's devaluation proof, gives you expanded spending options and attractive returns. So we see this really as what kind of our mission is, to help provide this capability to organizations and individuals throughout this nation. So let me just pause there. That's kind of gives you an overview, maybe more information than you needed. I don't know, but if you have any questions, I think now would be a good time for that.
Please raise your hand. You will be recognized if you have a question. Go ahead, Pamela.
I was listening, and thank you very much for taking time out to do this for us this evening. My question is in regards to the amounts that we are receiving our commissions into the program. Is there a monthly amount that we are allowed to take out if, we go, we receive a considerable amount of commissions, or how does that work?
Yeah, so if you're wanting to convert back to federal notes, as a UPMA member, you're allowed up to $10,000 per 30 days. You can take out as much as you want. We just give you a favorable exchange rate for that first $10,000. So yeah, there's no, excuse me, there's no limit. It just comes down to the exchange rate that you would get. So the first 10,000 is essentially the same exchange rate that we would use when selling metals to someone else. So we're essentially having to buy your metals and sell them to somebody else. So the purpose for our platform is not really as a check cashing service to just receive and then turn it into paper money and go spend it. If that's all you're doing, and if it's to try to avoid taxes or something, we're probably the wrong platform for doing that. The intent is to actually grow yourselves, your balances in gold, which is going to, keep its value. But for those types of expenses that you need on a daily basis, you can, as I said, borrow against them, put them on a credit card. You can spend them at anybody at any location. and then you replenish that, and you would then be coming out of that. So that may be something that you should look at, as opposed to, let me just liquidate as fast as I possibly can, as much as I possibly can.
You,
Yeah,
you said put it on a credit card. Now, does your company offer a credit card for our use?
we do. It's a debit card. So
Mhm.
we have a debit card that you can order, and we load that debit card at the beginning of every month up to a certain amount that you determine, you tell us. And so we can just, let's say you want $1,000 on your debit card on the first of every month. During the previous month, maybe you spent $3,000. So we would load $3,000 onto that card, and that is held in US federal note money. So it's a debit card, and you can spend it anywhere a Visa is accepted. You can decide how to put it on that card. You can either liquidate it, which again could be a capital gains if the value of gold had gone up from when you received it, or you can just have it loaded on as a collateralized loan. We call it a pawn. So think of a pawn in the sense, if I go to a pawn shop and I take my watch to the pawn shop, the way that works is I give the pawn shop owner my watch. He gives me $100. When I come back with $100, he gives me my watch back. If I don't come back, he just sells my watch. So that's essentially what we do, is we will hold your gold, and we can load up to a certain amount on your card in federal notes, paper dollar, cash, however you want to think about it, the dollars that you're probably most familiar with. We can load it on there, and you can spend it anywhere. It becomes pawned. It's not actually sold. And then the next time you receive some income, it will pay that pawn off, or then you can borrow more. And so we can keep topping it up at the beginning of every month, or if you need extra from extra expenses that you didn't expect, you can call us up or send an email, and we will load more on there for you. So yes, we do provide that.
Thank you very much. It answered. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Pamela. Great questions. Mike, your hand is up. Please unmute.
Yes, thank you very much. I would love to learn or have you educate us more about these gold backs. Not really familiar with it. Everybody knows what to do with gold and silver if they're going to go buy it, but is the gold back, is that a thing that can be used outside, or
Yeah,
just
so
please educate us about how that works.
So this is a gold back. It's actually made of gold. It actually, and we have a very unique method for doing this. It's a patented technology. And so if you look on the back, this is what is called a one gold back from Wyoming. If you can see that. This has 1/1000th of an ounce of gold built into it. Where can you spend it? I think is the question. And that is, there's a growing number of merchants that are accepting the gold backs. We publish the ones that officially have said, yes, you can spend these with me on our website, actually on the goldback.com website. But it's on here, it says, if you can see that, it says negotiable, let's see, what's the word? Specie legal tender instrument, okay? So what does that mean? It's an instrument in the sense it's not legal tender in and of itself. It is gold, but it's not minted by the US Mint like the gold eagle or the silver eagle. Those are things that we sell that you can have in your account. But this one is an instrument because it can be converted. It can be exchanged for those. And as such, it becomes federally accepted anywhere as essentially as legal tender. But it's because it's convertible into legal tender. So a lot of people don't know about the gold back. Once they know about it and it's explained to them, they almost always accept it for the value that it carries. And you can, if you go to goldback.com, that will publish the current recommended exchange rate on a daily basis. And so we found that at many locations, and we're not talking, the nationwide chains, or if you go to Costco or something, they will not accept them. But it's going to be mostly the smaller barbershops and merchants and so forth that tend to accept it, because for them it's a great way to buy gold in a very usable form. And so these things are catching on like wildfire around the nation. Right now, there's kind of the hot spots would be, New Hampshire. You see these a lot. You'll see them coming in certain states back east, but most of it is in the West, where we founded it, in Utah, Nevada, Wyoming, Idaho, and so forth. So that's kind of where, if you look on goldback.com, most of the merchants are located today. But we're looking for people throughout the nation who are excited about using the Goldback to actually go out and recruit merchants and explain to them what they do. We actually have so that's essentially where it's at right now. If you're back east, probably there's not going to be a lot of knowledge about it just yet. But if you could buy these and hold them, or have them in your possession, or keep them in your account, and then withdraw them as needed, and work with your own network of suppliers that you like, and explain to them what it is. And it's just a nice way to spend real money, as opposed to the depreciating inflation type of money that we are currently using. Thank you.
No, thank you for that explanation. That's pretty interesting stuff. And, I think the upside is we wouldn't have to worry about all that old crumply fiat money we always get passed off on.
Yeah, exactly. And it has real value. I mean, you think about, the interesting thing is that paper, where it started was it represented a certain amount of gold. That's what it was. Or silver, like the silver certificate. And then slowly the government has quietly taken that away. So now it's just a piece of paper. And it represents something only because we all kind of agree that it represents something, but it doesn't really have any inherent value. And it's subject to abuse, because the issuing entity, the Federal Reserve, or the US government in this case, can expand that or contract it at their will. And we've seen this occur, which is essentially another form of taxation. So they're taxing us, the value of our money is going down, and they don't actually have to raise income tax or any tax to do it. And so what this does is it takes what used to be the backing sitting in a vault somewhere, and it's broken up into small entities and infused directly into the thing that you carry around in your wallet. So it's very unique. It's a type of technology that could not have been done even 10 years ago. And so it's fascinating to see how it's done, but it's really taking off, because you can't abuse the value on this. It's inherent in the entity, the currency itself.
Well, thanks for all that great information.
You're welcome.
Awesome. So that was some great questions, Mike. Thank you so much. Regan, your hand is up. Please unmute your mic.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, sir, for taking the time out to speak with us this evening. Would you go over the various ways of withdrawal and the time frame?
Sure. So you can withdraw on a debit card, as we've spoken about. That's probably the easiest. And you can order that card. It takes about 10 days to come. You activate it. Now, to be fully transparent, there is a fee for that card, and it's $10 a month. But if you are depositing into your account, more than $1,000 a month, or if you have a balance of more than 1,000 gold dollars, which is about $40,000, then that fee is waived. But we can load value directly onto that card that you can spend. So that's method number one. Number two, we can send you a check. Number three, we could send you a direct deposit to your bank, ACH. For large sums, we will do a wire, but there's a fee associated with a wire that's immediate. Basically, you know, we can, once we do the wire, it's approved, it'll be transferred the same day. A direct deposit takes about 3 days to show up in your account. A check probably takes about a week because we have to create the check, put it in the mail, send it to you. So those are the main ways that you can receive cash from your gold holdings.
Okay, on the credit card side or on that debit card, did you say, is that immediate once the request is made, or what's the time frame on that?
It's usually next business day. Yeah, just one day.
All right. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Regan. Awesome question. Inez, your hand is up. Please unmute your mic. Inez.
Inez, are you there? I see the hand up, but maybe we should jump to Angelo.
Yes, we'll go to Angelo. Angelo, please unmute your mic.
Hey, can you guys hear me?
Oh,
Yep.
Yes.
Yes, we can.
Okay. I was in a meeting and I was getting out late, so you may have talked about this. One of the questions that I get from a lot of the team members on the affiliate link, I noticed when we sign up, we get an affiliate link. What's the benefit of having that affiliate link and sharing it with other people?
Yeah, thank you for bringing that up. So that's the affiliate or referral link. So if you tell some friends or family about what we're offering here, and you send them that link, when they click on the link, it just takes them to a sign-up page where they can open an account with us. If they create the account through that method, you will they'll be tagged to your account, and we'll calculate their net purchases. So if they're buying gold or silver, you can get a portion of that return. It depends on the type of metal that they're purchasing. In the case of gold backs, if they're buying gold backs, it's a 2% sort of commission. If it's gold and silver coins, it's 0.5%. And we just pay that into your account once a year. So it's based on the net purchases. So if they're buying it and then they withdraw it and they pull it out into cash, that's not considered a purchase because they bought it and they sold it, and you know, it was a net zero. But if they're purchasing and actually holding a balance, then a portion of that can be paid out to you as sort of a thank you for referring that account.
Okay, one last part of that. Thank you. If we knew a company that wanted to use your pay system versus a PayPal or Cash App, how would we what would be the resource for them to contact? Or how would they contact you guys?
Yeah, so we do have some that we're working with right now, and we have an API that allows them to interact with our system. So it's probably best to introduce them to me directly. So you can send an email. Probably best just send an email to our website, which is info@alpinegold.com or info@upma.org. They're listed on our websites, and just say you're interested, and we'll reach out to them.
Thank you, Angelo. Awesome question. Robin, your hand is up. Please unmute your mic.
Thank you, Dr. Wilhelmina, and thank you so much for this information this evening. This is great. So question concerning the debit card. You mentioned the $10 monthly fee. Does that start immediately once the card is issued, or what can be expected where that's concerned?
Yeah, it's only when the card is activated. So you could, some people will get a card and they'll just keep it, and when they need it, they'll activate it, and then they'll put a balance on it. And then you can also inactivate the card and stop the payment. So it's only when you're actively using the card would that fee apply.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Wow, Robin, that was a super question. Thank you so much. Before I have my hand up because I didn't see another hand up. So before I ask a couple questions, is there anyone else that would like to ask a question at this time? Eloise, go ahead, please.
Okay, my question is, y'all must know something that we don't know. Y'all must know that we could be making these lots of money.
Creativity software. Meanwhile, Rahel, new jobless numbers show the labor.
Go ahead, Eloise. Sorry for the interruption.
I was saying, they must know something we don't know. For him to be taking all this time and introducing us to this, they must no, are we gonna be making this type of money? You talking about $10,000 a month? So we must be gonna be making a lot of money in order for y'all to do business with you all, I'm saying.
Well, we like to support anybody who's interested in what we're doing. And I don't know how much money you're making or what you will make or not make. It's not my business. In fact, all that we have here is kept private. It's not shared with the government. So I hope you make a lot of money, and I hope you can buy a lot of gold. But yeah, you're not making money directly from us. We're just providing a method for you to funnel that money.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying is through Uric.
Yeah, and I honestly don't know anything about Uric. I mean, I've met John Rustin, and I understand that you have something to do with the
Charging stations.
Charging stations nationwide. I think that's great. And then there's commissions associated that he's paying you out through this system. And this is the kind of thing that we want people to do. Our hope is by doing so, you're not looking at this as just a way to get paid in US dollars, because we're not adding a lot of value there. But that you look at this and say, I should keep some of that actually in gold, because that is real money. This paper stuff that I'm going to get is going to disappear. It's going to be abused. It's going to devalue. And that's our hope for, and why I'm spending time to try to educate people on the importance of true money. And when I hear questions of how quickly can I convert this into paper money and spend it, honestly, I'm a little bit disappointed, because that's not why we built our system. We built it so you can hold money and spend it as gold and silver.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Awesome, Eloise. Thank you so much. Inez, your hand is up. Please unmute your mic.
I must apologize to everyone. My phone, I couldn't unlock it, but I heard you calling my name. But anyway,
No problem.
I think most of my question was answered already, but I just want a little bit of clarity with the January bonus that you give out when you use your link for someone to purchase gold with. Is there a target amount of money that they have to buy gold, that has to be used to buy gold in order to reach the $1,000 bonus?
Yeah, there is. Thank you, Ines. That's a good question. So the way this is designed is there's a law that says you can sell as just a non-licensed individual. The government will allow you to sell other individuals that you work with up to $50,000 worth of precious metals without having a license. And so we are using that rule to say we will pay you out 2% of gold-backed sales. So that would be if there's $50,000, say you go out and you recruit 100 people, and or say 50 people, and each one of them buys $1,000 worth of gold backs, and they put them in their account and they are saving them during the year. Then we would look at that and say, okay, Inez has recruited these 50 individuals. Between all 50, they've purchased $50,000, and they've kept it in the system. And we would don't know why I keep getting muted. Maybe somebody's accidentally muting me. We would look at that and we would calculate it in January and say, okay, Inez, nice job. You've recruited these people. We're going to thank you by giving you 2% of that increase, which would be $1,000. Now, if they had bought gold coins instead, we could only pay you 0.5% because the margins are different. So 0.5% off of $50,000 of gold coin or silver coin purchase would be $250. At that point, we legally can't pay you anymore because now we would be recognizing you having sold more than $50,000 and having done it without a precious metals license, and we could get you or us into trouble. So that's why we limit it. Now, I will say for some individuals who are really anxious and eager to promote what we're doing to their network, we do have another program that layers on top of what I just described for your standard member. It's called an authorized partner program. And this essentially, you have a contract with us and you're leveraging our precious metals license and selling or representing our products and services to a larger group. In that case, there is no limit. There's no cap. In other words, you can make more than $1,000. You can make $100,000 for all we care, because you would be driving a lot of volume to our platform, getting a lot of people to buy sound money. So although that is a program that it's a contractual relationship between us and whatever member, and there's a set of requirements to be able to do that. We don't just allow anybody to do that. So that's kind of where you probably saw the $1,000. That would be if the people you recruited purchased up to or at least $50,000 and held it during a particular time frame, then that would pay out $1,000. Anything above that, you would need a contract with us. And if there's less than that, then it would go below that. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I think there's some descriptions on our website about that.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I have one more question, if it's okay to ask, about the debit card. Okay, I know once you take your money out of the bank, there's no more interest to be raised on that money. So what I want to know, if your money is still gold while it's on that card, if in the market the gold goes up in value, will it still go up on your card?
Great question. And the answer, unfortunately, is no, because we are essentially, when you load money on your card, you're selling your gold, and we're putting paper money on your card. So if gold goes up now, you've sold your gold to load that on the card, and so you would not benefit from any increase in the market, which is why we recommend people leave as much as they can in gold and only take out what they need for their monthly expenses and leave the rest in the bank, in the gold bank, if you will, where you would benefit from that.
Okay, please, one more question. Okay, now, each time, let's say for instance, if I want to take fiat money and purchase the gold, each time I buy the gold, that's like a new purchase, right? Okay, so the more I purchase, and I can purchase as much as I want to, right?
Yes.
Okay, that goes toward, if I'm in the pool with the company, Uric, it goes into their January bonus or whoever I'm
Yeah,
attached
I
to.
don't know. I don't know how Uric has it set up. I think you would probably best ask that question to the founders of Uric. So just to be clear to everybody, we're not associated with Uric as a business. Uric is leveraging our platform to accomplish some business goals. And so this is one thing that comes up a lot, is that we get questions that people call in our support line and ask us about Uric policies. And we just can't answer those. So anything that's specific to Uric, you need to ask John or Cynthia Rustin or your upline, I think, if it's structured that way.
Thank you so much, Inez. Awesome questions. Dexter, your hand is up. Please unmute your mic.
Okay, thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Okay, I have a couple of questions. First question, I'm familiar with silverbacks and silver eagles, silver eagles, gold eagles. Usually there's a minting date on it that gives it additional value, like a gold eagle from 1990 would be more valuable than a gold eagle minted in 2023 because they don't make it anymore. Are there dates of any sort that give the gold back this type of a value over a period of time?
Yeah, so that's a good question. That's what we call numismatic value. If you hear that term, that means extra value over and above the face value of the money. In our case, because we're focused on gold and silver as money, we do not recognize that numismatic value. If you hold a set of products with us, or say you have a balance of gold coins, those are unallocated, meaning we have a vault full of gold eagles, silver eagles of different dates, but we do not differentiate between those. They just are representing the face value. Well, not the face value, they're representing the market value of essentially a 2023 silver eagle. So we have a daily rate, and that's based on what you could buy it today. And that's how we value all the silver or all the gold in our vault. I will say now, in the case of goldbacks, same thing. But we will find that there are individuals that are focused on the numismatic value of anything. Could be a coin, it could be art, it could be any number of items, NFTs, and it's possible that you could get some gold backs that are from 2019. In fact, let me show you something really quick. Not sure you can see this, but this is a frame of gold backs that were minted in 2019. And there's a little description on the bottom with the signatures of the founders of Goldback on the bottom there. I don't know if you can see, yeah. You can see
I
that.
see it. Yeah, thank you.
This is a collectible, and we do sell some collectibles. This particular one has Utah Goldbacks from 2019, which is the first year that they were made. The face value today, or the standard value would be about $500. But they're selling for about $2,000. So that's an example of a collection of something, because of its rarity, has an extra value. In terms of what we offer and what we do as a company, other than the collectible series that we have that we sell on our website, we treat everything as, we ignore the numismatic values on that. But it's possible you could get something from us and it would be a 2019. We don't really look at it. And you could, decide to sell it on eBay and make a profit. But that's not anything that we take advantage of or pay attention to.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand correctly. So let's say I had 20,000 in gold backs, right? And I want to convert them to gold eagles.
Mhm.
Do you have an option for that so that I can get the numismatic value of your gold back?
Well, you wouldn't get that from us. You could sell it to somebody who recognizes the numismatic value. You could take that, whatever you get for it, and deposit it with us, and we would buy gold eagles for you. But if they're held by us and you just want to convert from gold backs to gold eagles and they're in our vault, we're not going to say, hey, you happen to have some gold backs that are worth more than other people's gold backs. That would break the main rule of it being money, meaning divisible, fungible, the same value, independent of what you have. If you have a US dollar, it doesn't really matter what year that US dollar. I mean, there's a little bit of a numismatic value, but in general, people don't think about that when they're making transactions.
Right.
So that's the way we treat them. So the answer would be, you can get those. If you have something that has numismatic value, sell it to somebody else, not us. And then you could use those funds, fiat funds, to purchase metals with us.
Well, I'm trying not to do that. I see your incentive in your business model, so and I'm in agreement with what you're doing. I'm trying to think of a way to actually do it in-house without going fiat. Like a direct transfer of gold back to gold eagles in-house.
Yeah, well, we'll definitely take. So if you have gold backs in your account, you can exchange those with us. We're in exchange. So you can just instruct us and say, I would like to exchange my gold backs for gold eagles, and we'll give you an exchange rate. The $10,000 that we talked about, that also applies to exchanges between metal types. So in 1 month, we'll do up to $10,000 of exchange. If you're exchanging to paper, you've consumed your 10,000. Or you could do 5,000 from gold backs to gold eagles, or vice versa. And then you'd have another 5,000 that month that you could convert to silver or to paper dollars or whatever you want. And you could do that at the daily rate, which is the rate at which we buy and sell. Anything above that, we would charge you a buy-sell spread, because essentially we're having to take the excess that you've sold me and have to sell it on the open market. And the rest of the market on the planet has a spread, meaning they're gonna buy for a lower price than what they sell it for. So I hope that answers your question. But if you have any more specifics, you can give me a call. We can walk through your specific case.
I love your answer.
Thank you so much, Dexter. We're going to have to move forward looking at time. I wish I could allow more questions, but I must call on others who have been waiting. I'm going to allow 3 questions per person. And after that, you're going to have to get back with the person who invited you, or contact UPMA direct. Okay, so then great questions, Dexter, and thank you. Danielle, your hand is up. Will you please unmute?
Hi. Yes, I heard you mention, I know you didn't want to go into further discussion about the cryptocurrency program that you have, but my question is there anything on the website that mentions that? I know I heard that briefly mentioned in another recorded interview. I don't know if it was you or the representative, but is there something on the website about it? Because I had perused around and I didn't see anything.
Yeah, there's really not. And the reason for that is, with the regulatory environment around crypto right now, we don't necessarily want to be directly associated with crypto.
I see.
So we are an on-ramp and an off-ramp for something called Quintric. And so there's some details around it. If you go to quintric.com, I believe there's some information there. And so essentially Quintric, you can have a quint, and these trade on the BitShares exchange, and it represents 5 gold cents. And you can convert those with us for physical gold cents, because for everyone that's out on the blockchain, we purchase gold to back it. So you have a Quintric, a Quint S, which is the silver version of that. And then we do have a gold back token as well, which represents one gold back. And so if you could have a crypto version of that, and we would allow you to exchange that, there's a method for doing it. It's not something we're marketing heavily right now because we're in the process of sort of relaunching that capability. So I would say look for some more information in the coming couple of months. But we do have it set up, and we do have some people that are using it where they're purchasing from their gold holdings, they're purchasing crypto by converting it into these gold back or silver back or gold backed cryptos. And then from there, they can exchange them for other types of crypto and do whatever they want in the crypto sphere. And then they can redeem them back through us by transferring those tokens back to us that will convert back into gold and silver.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Danielle, for participating with a great question. So I'm going to close out with a few questions myself. Where are the gold backs printed?
Yeah, so those are manufactured in Portland, Oregon. That's where the company that, so we're structured in a way that we, Goldback Inc. is a wholesaler. They design and they market the Goldback. They have a part ownership in a manufacturing company called Valorum, which has the patents on manufacturing the Goldbacks. The lease program that we offer, so if you own Goldbacks and you decide you want to lease them to us, as I mentioned in my presentation, you can lease them for a return of up to 3.5%. Those funds are used to for buying the gold that goes into the Goldbacks that are then manufactured at that Portland facility. So hopefully that answers your question.
Yes, that's great. Thank you so much. Now, is there a minimum for collateralized loans?
No, there's no minimum. There is a maximum, which is the $10,000 per month.
Okay. Okay, I think that's it. I'm not going to drag it out. We've been on here now almost an hour.
Yeah, that's good. I think we use our time well.
Yeah, and I appreciate you making yourself available. You've been very helpful with us understanding more about Alpine Gold and UPMA. And I'm just grateful to Yerrick for introducing UPMA to us to make this, it really enhances the value of what we're earning. So I'm just grateful to them for that. And without any further ado, I'm going to say thank you again, and we're going to close out.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Take care.
Thank you, everyone. And Ms. Eloise, yes, indeed, we are going to make that kind of money. Just wanted to clear that up. Just stick and stay, honey. Just stick and stay.